Hello, Vivian.
Sorry, I was just muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you please turn on
Okay,
your
good.
camera?
Yes, I will.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. It's just that I raised my camera, but now I don't know how steady this is. Just give me one moment.
Yeah. Please take.
Almost ready. Does that look okay, this height?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, I think I know why it's unsteady. There we go. That's better. Let me see. Yeah, that's better. Okay, good.
Yes, Vivian.
And you can hear me okay?
Yes. Everything perfect.
Great.
Yeah. Welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Vivian. And before starting your session, I want to introduce you to our audience.
Okay.
Vivian is a parenting expert, best-selling author, and founder of Unshakable Parenting, who empowers visionary women to reclaim their power without burnout. With over 20 years of leadership experience working with global organizations like the United Nations, she now coaches women through life's challenging transitions using somatics and trauma-informed practices. Vivian helps her clients set guilt-free boundaries, reconnect with core values, and lead authentically in both personal and professional realms. Her grounded approach has built a loyal following of over 30,000 on TikTok, where she encourages women to lead with presence and purpose rather than pressure. Vivian's message emphasizes that true leadership comes from doing what matters most with heart and clarity. You have done a really great job, Vivian, and the stage is all yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I didn't realize as I was adjusting that we were live. So you got to see a little behind the scenes action there. So it's nice to see you. And maybe just as we get started, feel free to post your name and the city that you're from, just so I can, get a sense of who's all in here. And then we can get started. So thank you for coming. My talk is about you can have it all. And it starts with you. So as we get started, I want to tell you about me. So this is me. I was 24 and I just arrived in Afghanistan. And if you look at my face, I think that what you'll find is this girl is hopeful. She's excited. I just landed in this new country and I dreamed of doing something like this for many years, wanting to make a difference. And at the time, Afghanistan had just finished the war, but they were still a conflict zone. And I was there to help lead some of the marketing efforts for a telecommunications company and help them get on the ground and really start to build out the infrastructure and help to rebuild the country at the time. I was overseeing a lot of the marketing and brand, and then that spread out into digital, retail, corporate social responsibility, product marketing, you name it, I was doing it. I was a one-woman show. And before I knew it, I was leading 127 active projects alone, juggling billboard placements, media campaigns, marketing events, all while navigating a very challenging environmental, language, and cultural landscape, as well as some of the barriers that we had challenges with, all in the context of a country that was struggling to put its infrastructure back in place. At the time, I thought that I was holding it all together, and I believed that doing so meant I was doing something right. And so when I got wind that I'd be getting a new boss, because the current leadership was far too busy, I was excited. I thought, finally, I'm going to have a mentor that's going to support me. I'm going to have someone who really gets the business and we can really grow and tackle this together. And I was relieved, thinking, I think I'm finally going to get some help because I was drowning. When we met, she took one look at my workload and she said, you need to learn to prioritize. And then she told me to only work on one project, just one. I was shocked. And when I told her there were many projects that the leadership had flagged as being urgent and priorities, she said that I was resistant to feedback. So I did what she asked. I just worked on the one project that she had identified as being the most important one. And then later when things went sideways because they weren't done and people needed them, turns out she needed someone to blame. So she threw me under the bus. And then later in some of our meetings and status calls, she got frustrated. And then later she threw a stapler, amongst other things. But the worst part wasn't the stapler. It was that I said nothing because I didn't know I could. Because I had been conditioned, like so many high achieving women, to be one that could handle anything, right? And that moment didn't just cost me a job, it cost me my voice. And the fallout was even worse. Panic attacks, gaslighting, and false accusations, as well as a breakdown of so much of what I thought that I was building. And it took me 20 years, a divorce, and a complete life reset to get it all back. And so since then, I spent over 20 years in leadership, building brands, leading high performance teams, and managing campaigns for many Fortune 500 companies and startups. And after that, I became a certified somatic coach, a parenting expert, a best-selling author, an award-winning human connection speaker. But more than that, I'm someone who had to lose everything that she thought she wanted to finally reclaim what actually matters. And today I'm here to name what so many of us are quietly carrying, this weight of doing it all, holding it all together, and still feeling like we're falling apart inside. And I'm here to offer a new way forward, one that's rooted in presence, not performance. Because you see, doing it all is not the same as having it all. And maybe you're everything to everyone. Maybe you're the planner, the peacekeeper, caregiver, and professional. Maybe you get praised for being strong and penalized for having needs. And maybe in all your effectiveness, you're rewarded with more work, more expectations, and less rest. And maybe you've been so busy holding it all together that you've forgotten how to feel whole again. And you've got the career, the family, the life on paper, but maybe you feel lost in yourself. And maybe you're not just overwhelmed. Maybe you're disconnected. And the longer you ignore that truth, the louder it will scream. So we're going to do something together here. Let's put down this facade of holding it all together for just a moment. And let's pull out a pen and paper if you've got it next to you. And if you don't have one, go get one because you're going to need it for this practice. And just write down in this moment what you think you want right now. And I'll just give you a minute for that. What do you want? And then let's come back together. You can put down your pen and paper. And I'm going to walk you through an exercise. So I'm going to invite you to just sit or be somewhere you're really comfortable. Lean back in your chair if you need to. Take a deep breath. And let's do a practice together. You can close your eyes if you like. And just to take a deep inhale in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale again, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue with your deep breathing. Feel free to put a hand on your chest if you like, and just really notice your breath and follow it. Notice the way it feels as it enters your lungs, the way it feels when it expands and is taut at the top of your breath, and then the way it feels as you relax and it gets released. Perhaps the way it tickles your throat on the way down when you breathe in. that coolness and temperature difference, that's slight but noticeable. Maybe the way it tickles your lip as you breathe out. And just really notice this area around your heart. And bring your attention there. Notice if there's a weight or any other sensation. Maybe a small movement. Maybe you can sense it beating, this heart that beats for you, working hard every day. And let's bring your attention down into your belly, an area that it has not been conditioned not to feel. See what you feel here. Are you hungry? Satisfied? Maybe there's a gurgle there. Just really notice your body. Moving your attention down into your abdomen. Noticing any pressure, weight, or density. This area where your kidneys, liver, pancreas are, that support you and digest and detoxify nutrients, but also emotions. And just really noticing the weight of the gravity and the way it feels in your hip bones and your sit bones as it pulls your legs and your hips down into the chair you're sitting on. And you're feeling weighted and anchored. Feet on the ground. Feeling supported. And in this moment, from your body and the presence that you feel right now, I'm going to ask you a question. What do I long for? Notice the first thing that comes to mind. What do I long for? And if you'd like, you can write that down, or we can wait till later. I'll give you some time later as well. Who do I want to be? Notice what comes up in your body. Who do I want to be? What is the impact I want to make in this world? Feel into what comes up for you. What is that impact I want to make in this world? How will I feel when I have accomplished that? And with this one, as you feel into it, how will I feel when I have accomplished that? Let that feeling of accomplishment and what that feeling is for you fill up more of your body and just really feel into it. Let's notice. What does your body tell you? How was this different or similar to what you thought you wanted before we started this exercise? And what is meaningful to you that came up for you? Very gently, when you're ready, you can slowly move your fingers and toes and gradually bring your attention back into the room with me. Welcome back. Gently open your eyes. And let's take a minute to write down what came up for you. I'm going to give you another 15 seconds. So here's the thing. Oftentimes, for us to anchor back to ourselves, we need to feel it. And there's things that might be holding us back that we want to heal, and we need to feel it to heal it. And that starts with reconnecting with ourselves. So how do you discover more of this? What we just did is one way to connect to ourselves. You can have it all when you know what all actually is. And the thing is, it's not about having it all. It's about redefining what all actually is to you. So here's how we get there, my 5 steps. First, we create inner safety for ourselves. That psychological and emotional safety is the bedrock for being able to reconnect with ourselves. Notice your self-talk. Notice how you talk to yourself. Sometimes the harsh things that we say to ourselves are actually the things that were said to us when we were younger, as children, our formative years, even as early adults. And just notice, where's that coming from? And shift that self-talk into a talk with more compassion and a way that we would speak to someone we love and hold tenderly. Give yourself permission to be messy. It's okay to have the bigger feelings. It's okay to have these feelings that we sometimes label as negative. The feelings and emotions themselves are just signals. They're neutral. They're an indication for us on what is aligning to us and what is not. We add meaning to it, and that's the meaning that it takes on. And I recognize that sometimes it can feel really uncomfortable. But give yourself permission to be messy. And the third thing is drop your performance mask with yourself. You don't need to perform. You don't need to be perfect. You can be you. The second thing is what I mentioned before, is you need to feel it to heal it. Notice what's coming up for you. Notice what those feelings are. And then it's going to feel counterintuitive, but lean into those feelings and what you're feeling. Because it's only when you start leaning into them that allows those emotions. So emotions are energy. It allows those emotions to actually flow and complete the cycle and then get released. So let that grief, let the rage, let the confusion, surface without judgment. Let it come up. And in those moments of muddiness and confusion, that's the richness, because that's where clarity is birthed out of. So lean into it. Third, return to your center. What do I mean by center? Center, from a somatics perspective, is that place where we reconnect with the wholeness of who we are, where we feel whole, connected, authentic, safe within ourselves. It's that place that says, I am enough as I am. I am valued as I am. Some of the work I do with my clients is helping them reconnect to center and finding what center means for them. Because it's once we reconnect to center that we can come back to it. We don't know the destination if we don't know what it is. Number 4 is redefining success. Ask yourself, whose version of success are you chasing? Choose your own definition of success, even if it means less of what you've been told that you should care about, but more of what you do actually care about. And then finally, 5, take aligned action. Take one step in the direction of what feels like peace, self-love, or freedom. And you'll know it when it happens because you're going to feel more expansive, more inspired, more at ease. If you're feeling more constricted, tighter, anxious, sometimes urgent or desperate, then you know that that is not in alignment. That's coming out of a place of fear, anxiety, urgency, obligation. And here's the thing, you don't need to blow it all up. You don't need a full reset of your life or divorce like what I went through. Just take one small step in the direction of what feels like peace, self-love, or freedom. And let's ask you this, the important question. What am I dreaming of? And what is blocking me? Let's take a minute to write this down as well. What am I dreaming of? And what is blocking me? Okay. Is there anyone that feels comfortable enough to share it? I see some questions here in the chat. That's great. Thank you, everyone. We will definitely have some time for questions that I've reserved at the end. Thank you, Denley. Reflecting on the path of our self-talk takes courage. Absolutely does. As one may find digging in a triggering past, but is a needed mental and emotional exploration. Absolutely. I have some practices that help to support things that could be triggering, to help to contain it. And then the work I often do with my clients is we can titrate it. So it doesn't have to be like a big eruption, but then we notice something that we come up to, we can have hold space for it and create a container for it, a therapeutic container, and then titrate what we feel comfortable working with on any particular day. Because oftentimes it's actually through that titration that we can notice, how open are we to deal with this? Because all of us will have different windows of tolerance, which is literally how tolerant we are to the stimulus and things that we get exposed to and the stress. How big is that window of tolerance? And sometimes it's not that big. So sometimes maybe we don't want to be triggered or dealing with it. And so I do a lot of container work with my clients so that we can work on that together and titrate, or they can take it to a therapist as well. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so a real fast recap, and then we'll get into questions very quickly. The 5 steps: create inner safety for you. Number 2, you have to feel it to heal it. Number 3, return to your center. 4, redefine success. And 5, take aligned action. Because you don't have to burn out. You don't have to blow up your life. You can just start by paying attention in those moments. And you can have it all, but only if you start with you. So I'm just going to take a brief moment and then we're going to jump into questions. I'm Vivian Meraki. I'm a somatic life coach. I work a lot with parents, parent leaders, those that are going through major life transitions like divorce, create the life that they want to live with more presence, more connection, not perfection, not performance, to build the bonds and the connections that they really desire with people that matter most, like their families and their kids. So if you want to take a moment, you can take out your phone and scan this QR code. And if you're interested in having a conversation and exploring more, then feel free to book some time with me. It's always a free conversation. And you can also find me across a lot of social channels at Vivian Meraki. So Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. I will just leave this up for just a second for anyone who wants to connect with me. And then let's get into questions.
Yes, Vivian, that was really a great session. We enjoyed your.
Thank you.
And we got a few questions from our audience, Vivian.
Perfect.
Yeah, I want to ask one of them.
Please do.
What role does presence play in effective parenting and leadership?
That is such a great question. I actually think it is a foundational role that it plays. And I really see a strong tie between parenting and leadership. To answer this question properly, I could probably talk about this for hours, which I won't, I promise. But I'll just mention a little bit, maybe just a little bit about the nervous system and the way it works. Without getting into all the details, our nervous system is designed to help us survive. So oftentimes when we think about that, that is through our fight and flight mechanism. So you might feel that heat on your cheeks. You feel like the blood is pumping to your limbs. You feel ready to fight or flee, right? We've all had that feeling, heart pumping, etc. But on the other hand, our nervous system, and what we often don't think about and we don't talk about, is our nervous system is also designed to help us to create and connect. And so when we're not in that fight or flight, and we're not in a dissociative state, and we're in our regular kind of like that centered state that I talk about, then we're able to create and connect. And that is what presence gives us. And what's really beautiful about that state of creating and connecting is that our brain is fully online, our social interactions, relationship cues, we are built to connect with other people. Whereas when we're in fight or flight, we don't need to connect to other people. We need to run. We need to save our lives. We don't need conversations, right? And that's why our brain and our nervous system will kind of take some of those things offline. But when we are in presence, we are online for all those things. And that is partly why it makes us much more effective in parenting and in leadership, because then we're able to create, problem solve, inspire, innovate, and most importantly, connect with people and understand, how to lead our teams. Does that help to answer the question?
Yeah. What you said is really correct, and the way you explaining everything point to point is very impressive and really appreciated. And thank you so much for your valuable time. We have few more questions from our audience. We will directly post it to your email so you can respond there.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Is it possible to get people like their email so I can get back to the individual people that sent the questions?
Yeah, we will share it to you shortly.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your participation. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.